Yo, 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 welcome back to the Out the Box Show. I'm John Wallace alongside my co-host James Luffy. We had hoped to have Mr. Rory back, but Daddy Daycare is open this evening, and we hope to get him back next week. Rory is returning sooner rather than later. We miss our boy. We cannot wait to have him back. But like I said, it will be soon. We're gonna do a pretty short episode this week.
Little Friday. Whoa. My mic is really loud.
Oh,
wow.
Let's turn that down
a little bit.
Well, we don't need you yelling.
Let's turn that down a little bit.
I mean, it might get heated
Wait,
whenever you talk about Tennessee.
I don't.
You good now? Can you hear?
Still pretty loud. All right.
What about now?
That's better. That's better. All right.
All right.
Much better.
How about mine? Am I good?
You're good.
All right. We're this far into this, and we don't know how to work the mics. We don't have our audio guy Rory here, but we're going to pack a lot into a short episode. The reason it's going to be a little short is because I'm going to give Luffy 1 minute on the timer. I'm literally going to start the timer. I'm going to give him 1 minute to say everything he needs to say about the Tennessee game. And then we're going to look forward to the LSU-Florida game as LSU heads to the Swamp this Saturday, our first night game in 2 weeks, correct? So hopefully LSU can bounce back after a rough Saturday. We're going to give a few House Always Wins picks, and that's going to be it. We're going to pack a lot into a short episode, but it's going to be great nonetheless, and it wouldn't be as great as it is without the Boot Crew Media Network. Make sure to check out the Boot Crew Media Network on bootcrewmedia.com and on social media at Boot Crew Media. Our boy Chris Carterera we're going to let Chris's written word kind of describe how LSU fans are feeling about the Tennessee game. Great article, and we're going to let that speak for our thoughts. But I am going to give Luffy his 1 minute after I shout out Blaine Loop with Keller Williams Realty. We talk about him every single week. Blaine is the man. Blaine has been my realtor before, and he will be my realtor in the future. Blaine wants you to know that he wants to be your friend, your neighbor, and your agent, as usual. He wants you to know that his cell phone number, his personal cell phone number is 504-858-0031. You can call or text him.
You hear that?
You can call or text him at any time. He will pick up. He wants your business. He wants to be your friend, your neighbor, and your agent. That's what it is. Make sure to call or text Blaine Loop at 504-858-0031 for all your housing needs. All right, Luffy, I'm pulling up my phone. My phone is very slow. You get 1 minute to talk about the Tennessee game in Tiger Stadium, and your minute starts now.
Look, I mean, to sum it up, we lost it on the first play of the game. We can't fumble the opening kickoff. Special teams was atrocious. We gave up a 60-yard punt return on the second possession. It was 10-0, and our key to the game was start the game early. That was our biggest key to the game. We did not do that. I thought that the defense really never had a shot from the beginning because the offense put them in bad positions. Receivers, the best position group we're supposed to have, got to catch the ball. Dre Jenkins dropped a touchdown that would have been 20-14. Brian Polian, it's disappointing because the special teams, it's something every week getting worse. And that first play really took us out of the game. I thought Daniels didn't play as bad as everyone made him out to be. And Tennessee is a well-coached team, and we weren't going to be able to make mistakes early on like we did and win that game. And we, are going to have to improve in every area, and we're getting really thin with the injuries on the left side of the offensive line. It basically collapsed on Daniels that entire game with Dellinger hurt.
That's it. That's your time. That's it.
How was that?
We promised you crammed a lot into that. That was actually pretty impressive. There was a lot of bad, and I don't feel like this late in the week, whenever we're headed to the Swamp, is a time to kind of harp on it.
Got to move on. I mean, you've heard all the stats and all the complaints on the radio by now, and we're moving on to Florida. We're on to Florida.
On to the Swamp. So okay, I guess I don't want to kind of use last week as a bridge to this game, but if you're LSU heading to the Swamp, what are you doing? What is going through your mind this week? And I wish we kind of had Rory, because he was there for some losses like this.
Yeah.
And some not to say LSU was bad when he was there, but he was there. He's been in that environment before. And how does Brian Kelly motivate his guys this week to go on the road and beat a decent Florida team? We're both 4-4. At Florida at first beginning of the season. Yeah, we're both 4-4.
4-4.
or 4-2, 4-2,
Okay.
4-2.
I was like,
We haven't played
we
8
haven't
games
played
yet.
8 games,
No.
have we? I missed 2.
I
So
mean, yeah. Well, if we were 4-4, then the over 6.5 wins on the regular season wouldn't be looking as
be getting
hot.
dicey.
So
yeah.
we really, really need LSU to beat Florida this weekend. So my question: what is Brian Kelly doing to motivate this team after such a bad loss?
I don't know if it's a motivation question. I think they're going to be motivated because when you get blown out at home like that, I think that only motivates you, and because this team isn't. It's not like they were expected to have a good year, and I think that's more when the motivation comes into play after a loss. If you're expected to have a good year, he said it in the press conference. It's a process. This whole year is a process. And you know they've got to execute better, and he said that a million times. But it's simple. They've got to coach better. They've got to give Jaden Daniels some more easy throws, and they've got to put him in better situations to get the offense moving and figure out a way to convert those third and fourth downs because the defense needs a break. It's a thin team now. I mean, you look at Dellinger's hurt, and now. Thank God we have Will Campbell back. I mean, that was a huge blow, John. We were together on Friday, and we were talking about the blow that Will Campbell, like losing him. We talked about Mason Smith and Will Campbell were probably our two most important players. Not saying that they were the best. I mean, Mason Smith may have been the best, but Will Campbell was the most important player to that offense just because the left tackle position is so crucial, and you saw it kind of collapse on JD. And you know, there was just some unfortunate things that didn't go our way. I mean, Polian's been terrible. They've got to execute on special teams better this week. We're playing our starters now on special teams because we're thin. I mean, this roster is just thin. I think I got into a Twitter argument a couple of weeks ago during the Auburn game that this wasn't that. It's not a talented roster. When you compare it to the rest of the SEC, it just isn't. There is some young, talented players on the team, but there's not an overall flush, deep talent team that we had for, I don't know, it's probably 10 to 12 years where we had a really talented, deep team. And this just isn't it. I mean, you lost starting safety in Burns. You lost Seven Banks, who we were hopeful would be a starting corner. You lost Mason Smith, the best player on your defense, and you know Harold Perkins didn't even get in the game early last week. So it's a thin team, and it's going to be tough. Like every game from here on out is going to be tough to win. Besides UAB, I don't think there's a win you can chalk in and write down and say, yeah, we're definitely going to win this game. And this is going to be a very tough environment. Florida's going to be fired up regardless of their record. Same thing with Auburn. Their fans, when you go play at their stadium at night, they're going to be there. They're going to be ready to go. It's a loud stadium. It's built straight up. The fans are right on top. And it's going to be tough to win this week, but overall you have to execute on offense, defense, and special teams just a lot better than we have the last 2 weeks. And if we don't, we can't make up with that because of the talent gap. Right. And Florida's not the most talented team in the country, but they have talent on that team. But if your execution isn't there, you can't, not execute with the lack of talent is really what I'm trying to get across, because that's going to be the rest of the season for LSU. You're going to have to be coached well and execute if you're going to have a shot to win any of these SEC games. Does
Jack Bash continue to return punts and kicks?
I think he does. Yeah. I mean, you got to stick with your guys. We had a walk-on back there returning punts at one point.
I think it is fair to say.
And look, I don't even know if that was on Besh. Like, I mean, yeah, he should have caught the ball, but he's running 12 yards to get the ball. That's almost a thing where he should be coached to pretty much. That ball was going out of bounds. Like from my vantage point, whenever, and I know,
and I was sitting directly across the stadium from you because I sat with you. I was in the end zone where Besh.
So I'm looking right on line with the ball, and I'm like, oh, that's out of bounds. We're about to get it at 45. I went from like a high to the lowest of lows on that play, and it's and the punt return too. Like that, the first play is kind of a free play, but the punt coverage is just not good. So it's tough. I mean, the execution is going to have to be better on all three levels to win games from here on out. I mean, What's your thoughts on Florida?
I just think I think you're right. I mean, I think it's definitely the special teams is the key, right? We know our offense is going to struggle. Our offense kind of at this point, unless our receivers start getting more open, unless Keyshawn Butte starts getting more involved, unless Jaden Daniels gets more decisive with his throws and more accurate as well. It comes down to special teams. As soon as LSU dropped that first kickoff, the game was over.
It was over.
I mean, we knew it. The life was taken out of the stadium. Yeah, we kind of the fans kind of stayed in it, but Tennessee's a good team, right? And it might have been hard to tell. The ball was in Besh's face, or the sun was in Besh's face.
Yeah, and well, not to keep talking about this too much, but our key was get off to a good start last week.
Right.
It's really the same thing this week, John.
It has.
I mean, if you think about the biggest thing, it has to be because you have to take that crowd out of it. And if you get up 7-0, they're not going to be out of it there. But they were able to jump out. Tennessee was able to be out 13-0 right away, pretty much, and deflated the whole crowd. But you have to start fast at Florida. I mean, if you get down 10-14-0, I mean, it's going to be very, very difficult to come back. It's a much better team than Auburn. Anthony Richardson, a lot of the arguments this week or discussions, hot topic questions are Richardson versus Jaden Daniels, right?
So
who would you take? Is
Richardson what everybody thought he was going to be after that first game when they beat Utah?
Look, I mean, I think he's still like a developing quarterback. I think that there's a lot of like natural talent there. He can sling it downfield and throw it over the top over your head for 80 yards. And that's something we haven't seen from Daniels. But Daniels is way more careful with the ball and his decisions are conservative. And Richardson's kind of the opposite of that. He's throwing a lot of picks. He's averaging maybe 1.2, 1.3 picks a game. And he is a guy who just takes more chances, but he also has that ability to have a big, huge game that wows everybody. Like after the first week when they played Utah, that everyone was giving him the Heisman Trophy already. So, but I mean, Florida's a team that's going to try to run the ball, right? And we're thin at D tackle. We are. I mean, there's really only 3 guys that they're playing with Guillory, Roy, and Mizzou transfer. Why am I blanking on his name? Mekhi Wingo. And so it's a big week. I mean, first stop in the run. And I think the good thing is Brian Kelly said in his press conference, this is a Harold Perkins game. He's going to be the run stopper. He's going to be on the run, key on the running back most plays, trying to get to him. I think that Greg Penn needs to step up a little bit. Everybody was he was the preseason. Everyone was talking about him, right? So that's another guy who is going to have to step up this week. One thing that does make me feel better on the defensively, I can't say that I feel good about the offense in any way. But Jay Ward is a better run stopping safety than he is a pass stopping safety. Greg Brooks is a better run stopper than he is a pass stopper. And the corners seem to tackle well. Converse tackles well. And Gardner is a big corner, tackles well. So that gives me hope defensively. Really and truly, I don't really think that Florida should be able to put up that many points, but is LSU going to be able to score at all?
So I'm looking at Florida's last few games. Okay. They just came off of a 7-point win over Missouri. If you remember correctly, Missouri 2 weeks ago was beating Georgia in the third quarter and ended up losing by 4. So my question, it's so hard to tell. And I get preseason rankings, and I don't want to talk too much about the, Florida beating Utah. They should have never been number 7 to begin with. But I just look at, college football is a kind of a what have you done for me? What have you done for me lately, right? LSU gets blown out, but then say LSU gets the win against Florida and Ole Miss, and then LSU fans are hyped back up. You kind of get what I'm saying? So Florida not coming off a very impressive performance against Missouri, does that mean they come out and play better this weekend at home? Or does that mean that LSU has a better chance than we think after LSU just got their ass beat.
I think you can compare the two schedules and say they're, pretty close and wins and best win with us beating State and State's looking really good. And then Florida beating Utah. But I think that we're on the same page as we're not going to overreact to the Brian Kelly era as a whole in the Tennessee game, which a lot of people are freaking out. I mean, Tennessee is a top 5 team in the country right now. And
they go against Bama this weekend.
And they go against Bama this weekend to really figure out who they are. And LSU's just not where Tennessee is right now. They're a much better team. I didn't think we were going to win the game, but I didn't think we would get killed. And I think that it sucks. And it sucks that our execution was shitty and we lost the game on the first play, but neither of us are jumping ship in that regard. No. But I think that LSU and Florida are on that same level.
So, yeah.
First year head coaches, there's so many comparisons you can make.
That's a good point.
And Rory's, he begged, he sat on this podcast and begged for LSU to hire Billy Napier.
I know.
And so this is a big game for Rory, right? If Florida beats us, he's going to be standing on a table.
Yeah.
On a table, John, saying that we should have hired Billy Napier. And I also don't think this is a game that you're able to overreact to. I mean, it's a 2-point spread. If we lose this game, you just hope that it's in a close game and it's not because we made a bunch of stupid mistakes.
And the stupid mistakes generally have been coming on special teams.
Yeah.
And offense, you can't really say there's a lot of stupid mistakes other than just maybe a receiver was wide open or whatever. Our defense, the key to the game this weekend is defense, right? You gotta maintain Richardson. You gotta stop the run. You got to just maintain on the road. That's what LSU's got to do. Their defense Madhouse has to draw up a scheme. I don't think there was any scheme that Madhouse could have drawn up this past weekend against Hendon Hooker in Tennessee that could have actually stopped them, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, the loss of Mason Smith, that was from the get-go, but it all trickles down from there, right?
Look, and Major Burns was a really good – he was our pass-stopping safety, really, and losing him hurts, and then losing Seven Banks, who we thought would be starting at corner.
All right, so the spread is LSU plus 2.5.
Yeah.
And the over-under.
What's the over-under?
The over-under is 51.5.
Okay. Before we get to our picks, John, let me clean this up with Workbox. Let's clean up the segment. If you need a porta potty, if you need a storage container, you need a portable office, you need luxury restroom rentals, you need roll-off dumpsters, you call Martina Workbox. It's 225-343-4886. If you need the cleanest porta potties in the business, if you need storage containers, portable offices, portable luxury restroom rentals, and roll-off dumpsters, call Martina Workbox. It's 225-343-4886.
All right.
So 51.5. Is it 51 or 51?
51.5.
That seems high to me. I think just after watching the last 2 weeks of LSU play, that anything in the 50s seems high to me.
It's gonna be, does LSU's defense hold Florida? Right.
Yeah.
And because I don't think either of us have high expectations for our offense to put a bunch of points up. So although I don't take unders, I feel like I would just stay away from this because it's in my mind leaning under. So that means take the over.
Tease the under if you're going to take it. Tease it if you're a teaser guy.
44. I mean, 7.5, 7.5.
Tease the under. 10. Yeah, so I'm saying you under 57, under 58.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Under 57, under 58. I really like that.
Or take the over on 44. I don't know.
See, I don't know. I feel like that game could be sloppy and still kind of go under.
My brain just thinks in terms
default
of
to the over.
Yes.
No, sure.
So, okay, does LSU cover the 2.5 or win outright? I think you're going to say that LSU is going to lose. I'm just looking at your face and looking at kind of how you're analyzing it, and it doesn't look good.
I'll go 17-14 Florida. I think we miss a field goal to
so we don't cover.
No, we don't cover
by a half point.
by a half point. Screw it. I'll go 17-14 LSU.
Wow. Okay.
I'll switch on you.
Okay. So we cover in some. So take the alternate spread.
Yes.
Right. Now I think LSU wins a close one on the road. I think LSU is going to come out with some fire. I think Brian Kelly knows how to manage a team that comes off of just a back-breaking loss, like just a beatdown. I think LSU comes out with I don't know, the gun slinging. They had another players-only meeting. I don't think a lot of people have a lot of faith in those. I know Rory can speak a lot to players-only meetings. I think when you see a team come out with fire after one of those, then it makes sense that they had it. But when you see a team get killed, it's like, okay, maybe the right message wasn't orchestrated in that moment. So
and John, my preseason picks have kind of been flipped here. So I'm flipping on myself on my preseason pick of us losing at Florida.
This was supposed to be my second. I thought we were going to lose at Auburn. We didn't. I thought we were going to win at Florida just because it was Napier. So I still got to pick LSU to win.
Okay.
I'm picking LSU to win.
I'm flipping on my pick.
Close game. I think LSU got embarrassed last weekend. Every time you get embarrassed, you just come out and let it rip. I guess I'll just keep saying it. I hope Keishawn Butte gets some touches if he's feeling like it. I also think, if John Emery can.
Receivers got to catch the ball this week.
Yeah, right.
Plain and simple. They got to catch it. I don't care if it's wobbly or if it's tipped or whatever. They've got to catch the damn ball.
I want to see some very nice check downs this weekend. I want to see 4-yard passes. Because we ain't catching the long ball. It's just not happening. I want to see some check downs. I want to see some
RPO that's executed properly.
Yes. I that's what I was about to say. I want to see some read options. I want to see some just creativity. And I want to see Jaden Daniels break a few runs because we know he's capable.
Did you give a score?
I am going to take LSU 22.
Ooh,
Florida to 19.
Okay.
So we both have LSU winning by 3, 22-19.
Yeah, both under.
And both of those are picks for the LSU Florida game. Brought to you by DraftKings. Enter promo code BOOT. Bet $5 and get $200 in free bets. That's promo code BOOT. DraftKings is the official sports betting partner of Boot Crew Media.
Speaking of DraftKings, did the game go under last week? What was the total? Wasn't it 54?
To be honest with you, I don't know what the final score was. I know
it was 53 points. But I think the total was 54, 55 because we both were like begging for the under.
Yeah. Well, then,
yeah,
I think it went under. So take the over this weekend.
Scary that we're both on all these unders.
I don't know, man. Like I said, I'm not on the under, but if I were an under guy, that's what I would go for. But all that to say, while we're talking gambling, let's get to the House Always Wins segment presented by the House Bar in Tigerland. Shout out to the House Bar in Tigerland, best bar in Tigerland, best pizza in Tigerland, and the best environment. Make sure to check them out on houseintigerland.com and on social media, on Twitter at Tigerland House and on Facebook and Instagram at House in Tigerland. All right. Luffy added up our records for our college picks for the season thus far. Shocker, we're positive on the season.
So in college, it's not an even number because we're double losses or double wins. We're not counting. We're 9-8 in college, but we all got killed last week. John had Arkansas plus 9.5. State beat the brakes off of them. Rory had Kentucky minus 6.5. They lost to South Carolina outright. And I had Vandy plus 17.5. Vandy was actually up 14-3 at one point in that game. Still not a good pick. 3 losers in college last week, but 9-8 in college on the year. We'll take it. I'm gonna ride with the Vols this week. It's a scary pick, but I'm not gonna pretend that I'm gonna pull for Alabama this week. So I don't like the College Board at all this week. So I'm just gonna take Tennessee plus 7.5. Is it plus 7 or plus 7.5?
I have seen it at plus 7.5, but I'm looking right now and it's at 7.
It's at 7. Okay, whatever. I'll take the 7. Screw it. But if it pushes, then I'm gonna be angry. But
Hey,
Tennessee plus
push is a
7.
win, brother.
Look, I have no good reasoning for this pick, except I think that Bryce Young should sit out. If I was his parents, I would be like, don't play. Like, he's going to be a top 5 pick. Like, do you want to get hurt your shoulder again, you know? So hopefully Bryce Young doesn't play. That's all I got.
I'm going to take Kansas, number 19, Kansas
Okay.
at Oklahoma. Oklahoma's 3-3. They just got the brakes beat off of
They
them by
did.
Texas. I think +9 is a lot of points. Kansas is number 19 team in the country. This spread doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. So honestly, according to your logic, Luffy, I should take Oklahoma -9, but I'm gonna go with my gut like I always do. Kansas +9 against Oklahoma.
Okay.
I mean, I like you said, I'm not a huge
Look, we got
fan.
SEC, we got Big 12, and now we got some Pac-12. Rory Luke has chosen the USC Fighting Trojans, Oklahoma's head coach, and Lincoln Riley. He wants the money line, but I'm giving him the points. He says take a money line, but for record purposes, we're taking the 3.5. USC plus 3.5. They are playing. Who are they playing again? Damn, they're playing someone who's decent this week.
The University of Southern Cal.
Yep, that's right.
Is playing Utah.
Yep,
who is
that's
not
right.
that
Utah.
decent.
They're playing Utah.
But Utah's actually favored -3.5. I'd say take the 3.5 with UFC.
Yeah, I do like Rory's pick. We're on all dogs this week. We're barking. And wow, it's a 6. It's all dogs. We got all dogs this week. We got all dogs. So NFL, we're 8-7 on the year. That's
positive.
No double losers or no double winners. That's 8-7. That's positive on the year. That's pretty impressive. Last week I had the Jets. Back-to-back weeks I've given dogs that won outright. I had the Jets plus 3.5. They kicked Miami's ass. And Rory had Buffalo -14. They smacked the Pittsburgh Steelers. John, you want to talk about your pick for a second?
I got waxed. The Packers went over to London and embarrassed me. I actually, to be honest with you, I was going to take them as a comeback game this coming Sunday, but decided against it. I'm gonna just lean off. I do think they beat the Jets by over 7.5. Jets stink, but this weekend
I don't. I like the Jets again.
This weekend I'm going with the Pats, not the Packers. The Pats. Pats are playing the Browns at 12 o'clock on Sunday. The Pats are +3 at the Browns. The Browns stink. I think the Pats, it's still Belichick. You got to remember that. Although they're the 2-3 Pats, it's very unusual with Bailey Zapp, I believe. Zappy. Wow, I did not even realize that. I think the Pats cover.
I'm riding with John. I try to find another pick that I liked a lot, but I don't. I think the Pats, it's a must kind of win game for them. I don't think the Browns are that good. I think it's a close game, but let me tell you this. Cade York misses a field goal for the Pats to cover in this game. At some point, he misses a field goal or an extra point, and we cover this. Pats +3. The Pats have been playing well. You know, they're playing a little bit better. They need a win. And the Browns, it's one of those things with Brissett that it's like he kind of shrinks. He's a backup quarterback. It's like Teddy Bridgewater. Like if you turn him into a starter, he kind of keeps going down and down and down. But
Some guys are just better as
he can hold you level for a little while, but then once the tape's out on him, it's in Cleveland, which kind of sucks, but I'll take the Pats here too. And Rory is picking the Bird game, the Hawks versus the Cards. He's taking the Hawks +2.5. This line doesn't make sense to me. It's in Seattle. They're saying it'd be a pick 'em in a neutral site. Rory says take the Hawks money line, but we're giving them Hawks +2.5. And I don't know. I don't want to comment on that. I don't like that game.
That game kind of scares me. Two different birds playing against each
Yeah.
other. 3:00 game. That's kind of near the witching hour. I just am not really a fan. I did look at the 325 slot. Bills Chiefs going to be electric, so I'm looking forward to that. But I will probably bet it at some point. Probably take the over. Yeah, it's over 54, but that one does not count as a pick. That was just me talking.
Okay.
All right. With that, I think that about does it for the House Always Win segment in our show. Thank you guys so much for listening. We cannot thank y'all enough. We hope to have Rory back next week, but daddy duty calls. So, and that means he is a good father. We know it. We actually, me and you, Luffy, saw Rory was reading a book to his son earlier today. So shout out Rory, fantastic dad, and Hannah, fantastic mom. Great family. Great little family they got going.
Little family. Beautiful.
So, shout out to the House Bar and Talking Land, Workbox LLC, Blaine Loop with Keller Williams Realty. Also want you to know the Keller Williams Indian Opportunity Housing Partner, each office independently owned and operated, Workbox LLC, and the Boot Crew Media Network.
Look, talk about Boot Crew for a second. The little the picks thing in the NFL they're doing. Out the box is sneakily in second place.
Wow. How about that? I mean, dude, I'm telling you, we predicted it. That's why we're doing records this year for college and NFL. You're positive if you're betting with us, right? So make sure, and like Luffy said, our record doesn't indicate, say me and you pick the same team, Luffy. That means you should only take it once if you're a single person. If you're two people listening together, then you both take it.
Yeah, there's only one double pick in this whole record, though. So overall, what did we say? We're 17 and 15. Yeah,
so that's
pretty good. Money. That's positive. 17-15, not bad. I mean, that's picking a lot of games too. It's not like we're picking one as a pot a week. That's pretty good.
Yep.
If we stay above 500, that's impressive. Just it is.
Yep. And now we're gonna lose the rest of our picks for the rest of the year.
That is, but that'll be good for the listeners. Just keep fading us.